Good. This is going to be bad, dude. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Fire Through Fog. My name is Kelby, and I am here with my co-host, co-founder, whatever you want to consider him, Yuke.
That is how I feel. However, I want to be considered.
Good.
Good.
How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, actually.
Good.
Had a good day today. Did some manly things. Put up a fence,
You tore down a fence and then put one up, right?
Yeah, I did.
So you put up the whole thing?
No.
Okay.
Took a little bit longer than we wanted to. So got like 7 out of 32 posts installed today.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm just kidding. That's probably a lot. Yeah, cool, man. So everybody might be asking what Fire Through Fog is. Basically, the gist of it is fire, positive through fog, which is negative. So being a big fire, as big as you can through a foggy time in your life or anything like that. How we came up with this name is pretty interesting. I guess Yuke and I have been working with each other for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years now, co-workers, and we kind of just hit it off from the beginning. Pretty good friendship we've built, and kind of figured some of the conversations we have are pretty funny, deep, emotional, and we figured why not just start a podcast and just record some of these things, because we feel like we have good conversations, so maybe someone else or at least one person will enjoy it, right?
That's how it started. Hey, let's record a podcast. Let's just record a conversations and turn it into a podcast. But,
yeah.
I think what we're about to explain is, we actually have a vision for it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And so how that began, I was someone that was just, you know what, I've always wanted to have a podcast. I've always wanted to have a brand, a business and whatnot. And I didn't want to, I guess, come out and say, dude, that's kind of stupid, because we know some people that have started a podcast of just talking about whatever. And I kind of wanted to have a purpose, not saying taking anything away from our conversations or anything like that, but I think if we had kind of a purpose and a meaning to it, it could have some legs and go somewhere, instead of just to our friends, family, and maybe extended friends and family. So really how it became is we were sitting in our office one day, actually Aaron's office, the PM office we call it, and I was looking out the window, and we used to have a burn pit in the back by the shop a ways out. It was pretty foggy one day, and we had a fire going, and this was, I'd say, what do you think, about a half a year ago or a year ago?
Yeah, it was early last year, I believe.
And I was just looking out there, and I said, man, look at that fire through the fog. And instantly, Yuke and I both looked at each other and just were like, that's it. Fire through fog. Like, that fire was shining through the fog, and it was cool. It's like, fire is sometimes pretty negative, but the fog, and the meaning of this podcast and this brand, is the fire is the positivity. It's you creating and making yourself shine as bright as you can through this foggy time that you're going through, whether it's a death in the family or a traumatic event you've experienced, injury, illness, or anything like that, or depression, or anything, and just being that big fire, doing what you can. And the concepts we want to build around it is mind, body, spirit, social, anything like that, and just making those as strong as possible. Eating right, exercising, having strong relationships, building in your faith, no matter what that is. So,
yep.
I don't know. Yeah. You got anything to add to that? That's about the gist of it.
I think upcoming episodes we'll have, there'll be some things that kind of tug on the heartstrings there, and there'll be things that you'll hear, and our goal is to be able to reach out to people and have people reach out to us that maybe going through some of the things that we talk about on certain episodes, and if we just want to be supportive. I think there's a stigma of people not talking about how they feel, and especially, men have a problem with, expressing their concerns and emotions or whatever. But I think we kind of want to, shine a light in a different path that, you don't have to be, being a man is not holding your feelings back. It's actually, letting it go and not necessarily making yourself vulnerable, but
yeah. I
being out there.
Yeah. For me, the reason I wanted I had planned to make a safety related business. Wanted to create a presentation to show people that safety isn't just about a book of standards, that you come out as a safety coordinator and just tell them, hey, this is what this standard says. Why aren't you doing that? You're in trouble. I'm going to write you up. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get fired. That's not my point. I think the biggest thing for me was having people look past what could happen after an injury happens. If you lose an arm, what's that going to do to affect yourself the rest of your life, or your family? Or if you lose your life, how's that going to affect your family? You're going to leave a family behind. So taking these simple steps and preventing and first raising awareness, and then that'll lead into implementing the prevention steps and everything. For me, the example was when I was in the Air Force down in Charleston. I had a supervisor when I moved into the occupational health section of my job, which was public health. He took me out to a civil engineering job one day, and there was dust flying from them saw cutting concrete and everything. And he asked me, he's like, do you see all that dust flying around? I'm like, yeah. And do you see those workers with their uniforms and stuff? That stuff's getting on their uniforms. Do you think those workers take those uniforms off when they get home? I said, no, most likely not. He said, so some of them have kids, spouses, and everything that want to run up to and give them a hug after they've been gone all day or anything. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I've got kids and a wife at the time, and I'm not thinking anything yet. But when he says, okay, so that dust that's on their uniforms, when that kid runs up and hugs them, that dust is going to puff off and go into their lungs. And what that dust contains is crystalline silica, which might not do anything initially, but enough exposure over time could lead to silicosis, which is a pretty serious disease in your lungs. So that moment kind of opened my eyes up, because working with field guys, they have this mindset as, this isn't going to happen to me. It's not going to happen. It's a real thing. They have that mindset that they just want to get this job done and nothing's going to happen to them. But once you realize that it can, and you hear people's stories that they've experienced, it's going to open their eyes and bring that awareness to, maybe we can build this network of people who are talking about their stories, going through it together, building these relationships with each other, because there may be that person out there that might not have that support system. So we've got some really good people lined up. I'm excited about them. So I don't know if you got anything.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be we feel it's going to be a different kind of podcast, and a lot of stuff out there, and it to each their own. Like, they'll have some people will get a lot out of a podcast, and other people just listen for entertainment. But it's what we just ask that you use open mind, think about the things that we're talking about, and obviously we appreciate the support, and
yeah, if we can just save that one life, or someone who's going through a really bad time in their life, on the verge of even suicide, I think if we can touch them just with a story from someone, and just like bring them up from rock bottom, like that would just be worth it. I'm sick of hearing about suicide, and especially being a veteran, you hear that 22 veterans a day kill themselves. Like that's not fair. I mean, to their families, to themselves, to everybody. Like, so if we can build this network of people, and just of different walks of life, different experiences, different tragedies, all this stuff, and they can come together and build a support system amongst themselves, instead of going to a hospital, or people calling them, they're saying they're depressed or anything like this, or crazy or anything like that, and just throwing medicine. All we need to do is talk and help each other and be there as one. So that's kind of the goal of this, and build the biggest fire you can possibly be to get through these foggy times. And doing that together, you can't do life without people. So getting as many people as possible and just growing this could really make a change, and that's our ultimate goal. I don't have really any personal stories myself of any traumatic things that I can think of in my life. I mean, stuff that's like made me pretty stressed or down, maybe a little depressed sometimes I deployed, and that was pretty hard going with my family and everything, but there's some stories out there that we have lined up and that I've heard that are just, it makes me feel almost selfish to even say that I've ever been through anything in my life. So learning from their stories is going to help me. That's another goal that I see in this, just helping me, because we all take life for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron, you've got some strong faith, and Yuke, got some strong faith, and just kind of building off that. I mean, that can get you through a lot of things, but some people don't have that. And me learning and hearing people's stories will make me stronger too.
Yeah, and that's that's one thing in the world today that people don't seem to care about other people. We hear all the bad about race or whatever it might be at the time, but it's really about coming together as one. We're in America, obviously we're a nation, and even in the world, we're all in it together. Like, it's not some kind of peace pushing kind of let's all go sing and stuff together,
definitely.
But we can definitely be there to support one another. We all have different views, and we can be adults and we can respect those views, but we can be there to support other people too.
Definitely.
So that's something that I foresee coming out of this venture that we have.
There's just so many untold stories out there is the crazy thing. That their families and friends are the only ones that know, or even if they have family and friend around that can help them. So hearing those stories and getting them out that's the overall vision of this, and just hearing the authenticity of it and having people hear this and know that this stuff can happen, and it can happen at any moment. Life can change at any moment. And some of the things I've heard, it's like, man, that's crazy. So it just makes you stop and think. So getting this out as much as possible would be the best. So I don't know. I think that's about the gist of it. So we look forward to having these guests and everything and getting these stories out to you. Hope it spreads so we can get more better, stronger stories. Not going to overshadow anybody's story, because all these stories are going to be powerful and have a meaning and a purpose that comes from them. So we look forward to it.
Yeah. And, Kelby said it before, if we can reach that one person that, feels like they don't have a lifeline, and, we somehow can become that, or, they can listen to us and, see there's an outlook in life, that, there's an end. There's not everything's ending at once. It's you've got a chance to kind of change the stigma of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Yep. And there's people out there, if you are struggling changing that stigma, then there's someone out there that can help you.
Yep, for sure.
So, all right, man. If you ain't got anything else,
No.
I don't got anything else. I'm ready to just get into it and get this going. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate everybody's time, and have a wonderful evening.